Good evening, I'm Mr. Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories in bite-sized packages. Proton cars may be good enough for the Prime Minister and his cabinet, but state leaders in Kelantan have chosen Mercedes-Benz cars instead. But where did they get the money from? News recently broke that the Kelantan Menteri Besar was given a brand new Mercedes-Benz S450L AMG line, but he wasn't the only one to get a new car. In fact, 14 Mercedes cars were purchased for the Executive Council members and State Secretary to be used as official cars. Kelantan Deputy Menteri Besar Muhammad Amar Abdullah said the cars are much safer and cheaper to maintain than the old Protons used before. But where did the money for all this come from? According to Amar, it wasn't from the 400 million ringgit one-off allocation provided by the federal government last year to Kelantan, which was to improve the economy and welfare of the people and not for buying luxury vehicles. Amar said the purchases were made in stages using the state government's budget following 3 consecutive years of a surplus in their budget, including 45 million ringgit last year. He also said the state government obtained a 50% discount because no taxes were imposed. However, Amar wasn't sure of the actual price. Yesterday, the Kelantan Menteri Besar's office described the suggestion that it had used the federal government's special allocation to purchase luxury cars as a malicious slander. After the Attorney General's chambers refused to pursue a case against Anwar Ibrahim, his accuser Muhammad Yusof Rota now plans to file a civil suit against the PKR president in relation to his sexual misconduct allegation. His lawyer Muhammad Hanif Khatri Abdullah also wants an explanation from the AG.
Anwar wants to sue me, bring it on. Because I think he's forgetting important thing, that when he brings a suit, it's okay, I won't get into it.
If you're eligible for the e-Tunai Rakyat scheme, you've probably wondered how come you could only choose between 3 e-wallets. This was brought to the Finance Minister's attention today. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng today was asked about concerns that with only 3 vendors in the e-Tunai Rakyat scheme, which could lead to an oligopoly where a market is dominated by a small number of firms.
No, but the concern is that it will create an oligopoly. So do you think that these concerns are valid, or are there ways to mitigate this, or how?
Well, we have, of course, I think Khazanah should be able to answer that question. But what we want is to ensure that this digital payment outreach will be able to enlarge the existing base.
During the press conference, Lim reiterated that the data collected from the e-Tunai Rakyat scheme will not be abused. The minister then asked reporters if they've used the money from the scheme.
Adakah anda semua ada tak? Ada. Kebanyakan touch and go lah. Berbeza-beza lah. Tapi semua dah guna lah.
Tambah lagi.
Biar ini jalan terus dulu lah.
As of 10 p.m. on Thursday, over 780,000 people applied, with 672,000 people being approved and 18.8 million ringgit spent. Warisan and Harapan appear optimistic that they'll be able to take Kimanis from BN. PKR leader Azmin Ali, who campaigned in Kimanis on Thursday, said he's seeing all the right signs. PKR Deputy President Azmin Ali was in Kimanis on Thursday night, where he campaigned for Warisan candidate Karim Bujang. For those watching us live now, the campaign period for the Kimanis by-election in Sabah will end in about 2 hours. Speaking to reporters, Azmin appeared optimistic on Warisan's chances.
Saya mendapat maklum balas yang cukup positif dan ini adalah pusingan yang terakhir sebelum pengundian, dan saya lihat sokongan yang diberikan oleh pengundi Kimanis ini amat memberangsangkan, dan saya yakin ini adalah hasil daripada kerja yang rajin, dasar yang peduli rakyat yang diperkenalkan oleh Ketua Menteri Datuk Shafie Afdal.
Azmin was also asked to comment on the transition of power issue raised by several party leaders, but it didn't seem like a topic he wanted to entertain.
Puan saya, pilihan raya kecil, Kimanis.
Azmin didn't want to entertain questions on the transition of power last night, as we just saw. That is why we asked him again this afternoon. This time, we got a response. With several PKR leaders aligned to Anwar Ibrahim calling for the power transition to take place in May, we asked Deputy PKR President Azmin Ali for his take on this issue. Azmin appeared to be taking the same position as DAP and Amanah.
Well, I think as mentioned by Guan Eng and also by Mat Sabu, these are the two major parties in PH. We should allow to give the latitude to Dr. Mahathir Mohamad to continue and lead and govern the federal government. He has said on numerous occasions that he will resign at an appropriate time.
Azmin questioned the motive of certain individuals who are trying to push Dr. Mahathir out of office.
This is not the right time. This is the time where we should sit down and work as a team collectively to ensure that Malaysia would be able to showcase during the APEC meeting that we are competitive, we are able to compete at the global stage.
Dr. Mahathir had previously said he would relinquish the post after the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, APEC, in Kuala Lumpur in November. I'm not a fan of sequels. I mean movie sequels, but sequels to infrastructure development, especially public transportation, who could complain about that? And MRT2 is coming near a station near you. The target for the MRT2 line to be fully operational by early 2023 appears achievable after Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng revealed the progress of the project.
Untuk pengetahuan umum, kemajuan pembinaan semasa MRT2 berada pada tahap 70% dan dijangka siap sepenuhnya pada tahun 2022 dan bermula operasi penuh pada tahun 2023.
Lim said this at a press conference after attending the signing of a supplementary agreement between Mas Rapid Transport Corp Sendirian Berhad and MMC Gamuda Sendirian Berhad. The agreement concludes the rationalization process, which has successfully lowered the cost of constructing MRT2 by 8.82 billion ringgit to 30.53 billion ringgit. Lim explained that the savings will not be immediate as it is spread over 20 years. So in the next 20 years, the government can focus on other infrastructure projects. Not many people are in the position to say they don't want 2 million ringgit. One man who can say it is former Minister Tengku Adnan. 2 million ringgit? Don't need it. This is what former Federal Territories Minister Tengku Adnan Tengku Mansor testified in court today. He is accused of receiving 2 million ringgit as a kickback from the Asset Kaya Mas Sendirian Berhad Company Director, Chai Kin Kong. Instead, he told the Kuala Lumpur High Court today that the 2 million ringgit was given as a political contribution to UMNO for the Sungai Besar and Kuala Kangsar twin by-elections in 2016. In his testimony, Tengku Adnan said he did not need the 2 million ringgit for himself and never intended to accept those funds for himself because he was a successful businessman before joining politics and had huge assets. Before this, the court had ordered him to enter into defense for his charges related to receiving the 2 million ringgit from Chai. Coming up next, the impeachment drama of President Donald Trump heads to the Senate. Also, I may have something I'm going to need you to Google. All that and more after this. The impeachment drama heats up as we receive news that the White House may have violated federal law by withholding security aid approved by lawmakers for Ukraine.
The United States Senate begins its process on deciding whether to remove President Donald Trump from office. The Government Accountability Office found that the White House had broken the law when it blocked congressionally approved military aid to Ukraine. The Government Accountability Office, a non-partisan arm of Congress that serves as a government watchdog, said that a temporary hold on the $391 million of assistance placed by the White House Office of Management and Budget was, quote, not permitted, writing, quote, faithful execution of the law does not permit the president to substitute his own policy for those that Congress has enacted into law.
The OMB, the White House, the administration broke, I'm saying this, broke the law. They say we conclude that they violated the Empowerment Control Act. This reinforces, again, the need for documents and eyewitnesses in the Senate.
This is a key issue as it was the action that Trump's impeachment probe is based on. Democrats accused Trump of withholding aid until Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky initiates a corruption probe into a firm with connections to Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's son. The aid was released after a whistleblower complained that domestic political considerations were tainting Ukraine policy. Although scathing, the findings of the Government Accountability Office have no legally binding authority, and the watchdog also holds no prosecutional power. The White House points to the fact that the aid resumed and Ukraine announced no investigations as evidence that there was no wrongdoing, while the president's Republican allies defended his right to suspend the assistance.
Not many companies are worth $8 trillion, making it a very exclusive club. Only 3 companies actually, but now we can add another company to that list.
Google's parent company Alphabet became the 4th United States company to hit a market valuation of $1 trillion on Thursday. Alphabet joined Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft as the only companies to be awarded such a market evaluation by investors. Shares of the internet search giant are up nearly 17% over the last 3 months. Despite threats of a regulatory crackdown by the European Union and Washington, many investors are finding it hard to let go of the world's leading online advertising platform. The performance of Alphabet and the other technology and tech-related stocks helped money managers post big gains in 2019, making it difficult for many to justify cutting their exposure. Alphabet is scheduled to report fourth-quarter earnings on the 3rd of February. In its latest report, the company missed analyst estimates for third-quarter profit by about $1.7 billion, though it beat revenue expectations. That news did little to dent investors' bullishness on the company. Alphabet's stock retreated briefly on the report, only to resume its climb several days later.
And here are several other news highlights from today. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back again next week on Monday. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching. But before we go, we leave you with devastating footage of the destruction caused by the month-long bushfires in Australia.